Like, I still remember the smell of Blockbuster. Is that crazy? Like, having to leave and maybe they don't have what you want, so you have to settle for something else.
I was banned, yes, and now they're closed, so I think they got what they deserved.
Blockbuster was weird, now that I think about it. Redemption.
I didn't get cable until I was about 13, so I really actually relied heavily on renting.
You know, I used to ride my bike to Blockbuster so I could watch like documentaries about Tupac and Death Row.
Fun fact, I was actually born across the street from my hometown Blockbuster. There was a specific one that I went to because it had the cuter guy working at the front desk.
I remember walking through all the aisles, and I was always fascinated by the like weird kind of like sexual movie covers that I like knew I shouldn't really be looking at.
They would only have like one copy of a movie. So if you're like, do you have The Wizard of Oz? And they'd be like, oh, that's out till Sunday. I'm like, Mom, it's out till Sunday.
I would always, I'm sure, get Balto. That was my favorite movie. I definitely rented Good Burger from Blockbuster. That was such a 1990s sentence.
Me and my mom would be in the car together already like talking about what movies we can get, and we'd like joke saying, don't check out that The Mummy again, because we've seen it 80 times.
I don't remember specifically what movies I rented. I remember what video games I rented because it was so rare that they would have the video game I wanted in stock.
And video games are really expensive, so my mom really liked the concept of us renting them rather than buying them.
And the issue with renting video games at Blockbuster is they would, every time you'd go back, all of your shit would have been saved over by some other joker who was playing the game.
I would tell my dad to just incur the late fees because I wanted to beat them. So it was a big late fee, but it was worth it because that was like one of the first times me and my dad bonded over my favorite medium, which is video games, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
I loved watching movies when I was younger, and I used to always go, and we just never returned them. Like, I just would lose them. And long story short, legal action was threatened by Blockbuster and my humble family of the Turners of Rose Bay, Sydney, Australia. I was banned, yes, and now they're closed, so I think they got what they deserved.
So the reason why I actually got a Blockbuster card is because I owed too much money on my library card, and they wouldn't let me rent any more VHSs. So like, I convinced my parents like, hey, I need a Blockbuster card, so they got me one. Then I ran up the bill on that one.
I was probably the cause of a lot of debt in my family.
I assume it's the same thing that happens when you steal a book from the library, which I also did. You just don't pay and never go back.
I didn't get to have a credit card, but I had a Blockbuster card. So I carried around my Mickey Mouse wallet, and there's my library card, my Blockbuster card, and it made me so happy to have that. And so happy, in fact, that to this day, I still carry a Blockbuster card with me wherever I go.
The worst thing that could possibly happen to you was the tape in the VHS would get like all tied up in each other, and you just have to spend the time going like that and winding it back.
Hello, yes, be kind, rewind.
So you get the movie and it's already at the end and you gotta rewind it. So yeah, I used to see like the ending of the movie before I saw the beginning.
And then, you know, the candy aisle is probably the most memorable for me because I was a child.
They would sell candy that you could only get at the movies.
There was like special gumballs that were printed on them that said Blockbuster, and if you got one, you got some sort of prize.
My mom would get the Pop Secret, I would get the Twizzlers, and then my brother or whatever would get chocolate because I didn't like chocolate, but they liked chocolate at the time. But I always remember the candy being part of it, of course, because movies, Blockbusters.
I am kind of bummed I don't get the Blockbuster experience with my own kid. I've got like a 1-year-old. Browsing through Netflix isn't the same.
I think it was such a fun thing to do with your friends or your parents. You'd go and browse films and read the backs and say, have you seen this? Have you seen this?
I miss like the social aspect of like hanging out with friends and collectively being like, oh, do they have it? Do they not have it? If they do have it, like, let's choose between this, this, and this. Do we want to get all three? Do we want to have a movie night? Like, movies used to be such an experience and not just like background.
Imagine if we would Blockbuster and chill. Doesn't have the same ring. Nope.
Thank you, Blockbuster, for allowing me to expand my worldview and have fun sleepover parties where you watched a PG-13 movie that you probably weren't supposed to watch, but you did it anyway.
Honestly, we should thank Blockbuster for giving us Netflix and all these other streaming services.
Thank you, Blockbuster, for providing me with copies of Pokemon that had legendary Pokemon on it that I could steal for my own copy and return later.
Thank you, Blockbuster, for all the cavities.
Hey, Blockbuster, it's Andrew. It's been a while since we've last talked. like this, because it seems as though you've been disappearing slowly from my life. And I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunities that you gave me.
Thank you, Blockbuster, for letting me bond with my mom.
Rest in peace, Blockbuster. You were like such a ride or die for so many of us.
Mwah! We'll miss you, Blockbuster.
And remember, be kind and always rewind.